Hi everybody, it's been a while since I had a little chat to you, and so I thought I would update you again on the situation in Panama regarding the government's restriction of movements of people during this COVID pandemic. Well, first of all, Caesar and I are still very well and happy. We're still perfectly safe, perfectly healthy. We haven't been getting much surf because it turns out that the surf here in Panama is very seasonal. December, January, February, maybe into March is the season. So we're coming up to that season. Okay, on to government restrictions of movements. I've got some notes here. So MINSA, that's the health authority here in Panama, have a contingency plan. They are going to be looking at 4 indicators. They want the RT factor to be 1 or less. They want the mortality rate to be less than 3%. They want the availability of hospital beds in the ward to have a 20% empty capacity or more. And they want the availability of ICU beds to have 15% empty capacity or more. So those are the 4 indicators they're looking at. Now, depending on where those indicators are sitting, these are the different alert levels or levels of restriction on people's movements that the government will enact. Right now, the RT factor is over 1, so we're in the first level. We've got 1 indicator which is over their limit, and so we have a curfew countrywide from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. Outside of that curfew though, there's really no limit on what you can do, where you can go within the country. If you're not a Panamanian resident or citizen, you can arrive in the country. You need to have a negative COVID test either prior to boarding, check with your airline. Some of them require it prior to boarding, or if you don't have that, you can get a COVID test upon arrival at Tocumen International Airport for $50 US. Now the problem with that though is if you're negative, if you test positive for COVID, they're going to put you in quarantine. They're going to put you in quarantine for 14 days. Pretty sure it's going to be at your expense. You may even have to share a hotel room with a stranger, I've heard. So you really don't want to be in that situation. So have your test before you board. If 2 of those 4 indicators are overflow or those limits are breached, then the following will be implemented by the government. They will have checkpoints, which I think means that they will be checking temperatures. They will have quarantine on Sundays, so no one will be allowed out on Sundays. They will extend the curfew from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. So that's quite an early curfew. They will close beaches, no surfing, and they will limit meetings or gatherings to no more than 10 people. So currently the mortality rate is well less than 3%. Currently the availability of hospital beds in the ward and in ICU has that capacity. So only 1 of the 4 indicators has currently been breached. So all we have at the moment is that curfew from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. But if one of those other 3 indicators are breached, then we're going to have beaches closed. That's going to suck. I'm watching the number of hospital cases in hospital and cases in ICU quite carefully, but the information about how many hospital beds the country has isn't really reliably, readily available. So I'm really just guessing as to how close we might be getting to one of those other indicators being breached. Okay, the next level is if 3 of the 4 indicators are breached, the following will happen. They will communicate closings a week in advance. They will increase checkpoints. They will have quarantine, full quarantine all weekend. Restaurants will be closed except for home delivery only. Shopping centres will close except for online sales. If all 4 of the indicators are breached, they will have sanitary closures and fences. They will restrict mobility by gender again, and they'll halt tourism. I don't think all 4 of those indicators are ever going to be breached. The last one to be breached would be the mortality rate, and it's reliably less than 3%. I don't think that's ever going to get more than 3%. So that's the situation at the moment with COVID in Panama. Currently there's under 1,000 people in hospital ward, and there's about 150 odd in ICU. So the numbers in hospitals are really low. The testing rate has really increased. They're aiming to do over 10,000 tests a day. I recently saw a testing facility when we went to the shop the other day. So testing is now readily available, much more widespread, and they are committed to doing a lot more of it. The contact tracing teams are strengthened and they're very active, and I think it's the lots of testing and isolating infected individuals, along with everyone wearing masks and using sanitary measures, that's keeping the numbers in this country so far down. I don't know that Panama is going to have a strong second wave like we're seeing in Europe and the United States because of those measures that the government is now taking. So I think finally they've got it right. They're doing a really good job. If you do come to Panama, you will be expected to wear a mask when you're out in public. I see even people wearing them in their cars. I don't do that, but you have to wear it if you're walking in the street and if you go into any establishment whatsoever. You'll have your temperature checked and you'll be given hand sanitizer to use. So that's the situation with COVID. Okay, following this little chat, thank you very much for watching again, and if you like, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. I'm going to follow with some footage of our recent road trip up to the Caribbean side, and then I'm going to follow, I think, with a cocktail of the week, which I haven't done for quite a long time. So yay. Oh, one last mention on that. I've heard some rumours recently online. Now, I don't know how true this is, but I'm going to take it seriously and that I'm going to prepare just in case it turns out to be right. I have heard some rumours that lei seca may be reintroduced. Lei seca, we had a dry law for about 6 weeks back in March, April into May, around about those months. You couldn't buy alcohol. You weren't, even if you had some at home, you weren't even allowed to drink it. I ran out and I had several weeks with absolutely no alcohol, so I have made preparations. That will not happen to me again. I mean, what I've done might be illegal, but hey, it's perfectly legal to buy plenty of alcohol right now, so that's what I've gone and done. I'm not going to be caught out again. Okay, so that's enough from me chatting to you. I'm going to follow with our road trip and cocktail of the week. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope you too are all well and happy. Bye. So we did find some surf options, but the swell is too small for these coral reef breaks. You need to have a little bit more water over that incredibly sharp reef before you try and catch a wave there. I'm going to turn you around and show you the Bala Beach resort that we stayed in here in Maria Chiquita. This is pretty much the only place in Maria Chiquita to stay. It's super glassy, offshore, sweet little waves, but tide's too low, waves too small for the coral reef break, and the beach break, it's just closing out, so I'm not desperate enough to try and surf that. So this is where we're staying. The rain's on its way for the afternoon, end of the rainy season. Isn't it pretty? My theory is they paint the bottom of the coconut palms white so that when you have a few too many drinks at night, you don't crash into them. What do you think? Do you think that's why they do it? Caesar?
No.
Why do they do it then?
I don't know.
Because it looks good?
That's what I was asking.
Well, I mean, why else would you do it? What could possibly be the reason?
Maybe it stops animals from going up the tree somehow.
Why would you want to stop the animals from going up the tree though? I mean, it's just going to be iguanas and whatnot.
But I see that all over Panama.
Yeah, they like to paint the bottom of the trees white, but we don't know why. So we're staying here at Bala Beach Resort in Maria Chiquita just for a few days, and we're going to just have a little walk around the headland. Apparently there's a track. I am wearing a mask. You have to wear a mask. I want to take it off now because there's no one around. But I found the solution to the problem I was having, which I talked to you about before, of the masks riding up my face and hitting my lower eyelids and obscuring my vision. I am wearing a mask for a child. My reading material is books in Espanol para los niños, because that's helping me learn the language, and I'm wearing a mask for a child. This is an N95 for a child, and it's an absolutely perfect fit, so not quite sure what to make of that, but there you are. Come with. We're at a spot called Cacique. It's about a 20-minute drive east from Portobello, and here's a left-hand reef break, and the water is so clear. There's a little maybe thigh-high, hip-high wave. We're going to paddle out and just have a look. The tide might be a bit too low. There might not be enough water on the reef for us to surf it, but we're just going to get wet and have a look and see what happens. Come with. We're staying in Maria Chiquita and each day we're doing a different little exploration, reconnaissance, hunting for waves. Here we are in Isla Grande. The waves are too small and the tide is too low. It's a coral reef break and it's sharp coral. I learned that one the hard way yesterday when I tried to surf a too low tide in, what's the name of that place we went to yesterday?
Cacique.
Cacique. So you can see the left-hand reef break behind me. No surfing today, not safe. Tide too low, waves way too small, but there's also a hotel here we could come and stay at if we wanted to do so again when there is a swell running here on the Caribbean side of Panama. We're going to go for a boardwalk, we're going to go find some lunch, we're just having a little check out of this place for its potential surf options. So come with. Hi everybody. I can't believe that as I've been doing cocktail of the week, and I want to resume that because that's fun. I can't believe I haven't done a mojito for you guys. Oh, look out for the iguana poo. Okay, so I really like mojitos, and so in this little house, well, not so little, in this overly large house that we have shut up half of because we don't need all of it, I planted some mint here at the edge of the pool in this little planter because I like mojitos, and the mint doesn't last very long in the fridge. So I'm just going to cut some mint and I'm going to make a nice fresh mojito for you, or with you. Okay, so got my fresh mint out of the garden. I'm going to put a fair few leaves there in the bottom of my glass. I'm going to give it a squirt of organic raw blue agave, low glycemic, slightly healthier, you know, trying to be healthy here. I'm going to give it 1 shot of fresh squeezed lime juice. But wait, I prepared that earlier. Get your muddler, muddle it all up, squish the mint leaves up to release the oils from them and all that delicious flavour. This is one of my favourite drinks, and it's so easy, and you don't need a shaker, so I don't annoy Caesar with the awful sound that the shaker makes. Fill your glass with ice. Grab a can of soda. Thanks, Canada. I'm going to give it a double shot of Havana Club. You can buy this stuff in the supermarket, people. New Zealand, you can buy this in the supermarket for about $12 a bottle. In New Zealand, if you buy this, it's like $50 to $70 a bottle. It's stupidly expensive. So apparently it's not the best light rum for the mojito, but I've just got a thing about using it because in New Zealand we're told that that's the correct one. I mean, it tastes fine. And then charge your glass with soda. Get your little straw, give it a bit of a stir, and enjoy. Super refreshing, absolutely delicious, and really simple.